Hey there. Have you ever been reading a book or a passage or an article online, and you're going along fine, and all of a sudden you come across a word that you just don't know the meaning of? Like you just totally don't know it. You know you've heard it before, you probably know how to pronounce it, but for some reason when it comes to knowing what it means, you just draw in a blank. And then you either do one of two things. Either number one, you stop what you're doing, you look it up online, or you go get a Webster's dictionary. Or the second option, you just totally skip it and say, I don't need, no big deal. Well, either one of those two options, either one, not going to do you much good, because if you skip the word completely, then you're going to miss something important that the author might be trying to say. If you stop what you're doing to look it up, you've broken the momentum. You're breaking the momentum of what you've been reading. You've already broken it. And then you have to say, oh, well, that's what it means. And then you go back. Then you say, okay, now where was I again? And you've already broken the momentum when you could have been reading another page or whatever. So there is another option that you can use to prevent you from having to deal with all that. One that you could use and keep reading what you're reading and enjoying it. And that option is called context clues. Context clues are words or phrases that you can use to help you figure out what a word means. Sometimes it's not only those, sometimes it's pictures, sometimes it's in the word itself, depending on the word, if you could break it down or not. But context clues are great ways to help you not have to use a dictionary or a glossary. And we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to give you a little example of one right now. I wrote a little paragraph here. Before I show it to you, let me give you a little bit of background information on it. I just got done watching a hockey game. I make no secret that I'm a huge Ranger fan. See? And unfortunately, they lost tonight. They won the other night, but tonight they couldn't continue that. They lost. So I decided to play sports writer here and write a little summary of what actually happened tonight. And I got it for you right here. I'm going to show it to you on the screen. If I can get to it right here. There it is. And it says, the Lightning beat the Rangers tonight by a score of 2-0. It seems that the Lightning really adapted well and were able to bounce back after losing the other night. They were definitely prepared for this game. Okay. You will notice, first of all, that the word that I have in bold print here is adapted. That's going to be the word that we're going to focus on. Let's say we don't know what that word means. What does adapted mean? I don't hear it a lot. I've heard it before, but what are they trying to say here? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to use context clues to try to figure out what that word means without having to look it up. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the sentence that the word is actually in. So I'm going to start actually with this one right here. And I know I'm going to highlight a little more than that, but I'm just going to focus on that sentence. The sentence that it's in once again says, it seems that the Lightning really adapted well and were able to bounce back after losing the other night. Well, if I look at the sentence carefully, I know the Lightning adapted. The Lightning, by the way, is the team that, in case I didn't tell you, the Lightning is the team that they are playing right now in the series, the Tampa Lightning. Anyway, they adapted well. And if I go a little bit further down here to this line, it says because they adapted, they were able to bounce back after losing the other night. So I have a feeling that adapted has something to do with bouncing back, not literally bouncing, of course. Bouncing back meaning winning after a tough loss. But now I'm going to go get a little bit greedy here, and I'm going to look at other sentences around it and see if maybe there are other clues, context clues, that I could use to figure out what it means. And if I do that, I'm looking at this first sentence here. The Lightning beat the Rangers tonight by a score of 2-0. Well, that's the score. There's really not much there but the score. So I'm just going to kind of let that one go. However, if I look at the sentence after the one that adapted was in, it says, they were definitely prepared for this game. Now, The one word that I see in this sentence that described the Tampa Bay Lightning after bouncing back in this sentence is the word prepared right here. They were prepared for this game. Now, I could summarize here, I could figure out that adapting has something to do with being prepared to bounce back. So the best two context clues in this whole paragraph to me are bounce back and prepared. So I can make the conclusion that to adapt means to prepare to change the result of something. In this case, the Lightning prepared themselves so that they wouldn't lose tonight after losing the other night. That, to me, is what adapted means. Now, what I can do is I can read the sentence with adapted it in again, and just for fun, replace that word with the word prepared and see if it makes any sense. It seems that the Lightning really prepared well and were able to bounce back after losing the other night. Well, I don't know about you, but to me that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Now, of course, it says prepared here, but that's what's so crazy about the English language. You could use synonyms. We'll talk about that in another video. You could use other words, that's really what they are, to repeat what you just said without sounding like you're repeating it. So if I replaced adapted with prepared, that makes perfect sense. The Lightning really prepared themselves well and were able to bounce back after a loss. That is what adapted means, at least in my eyes, and probably in most people's eyes. But now for fun, even though I don't have to do this, I am going to, you're over here, I am going to look up the word adapted on Google just to see what comes up. And let's see. When I do that, I'm trying to find it over here. Let's see. Oh, there it is. I just found it. There it is. Okay. Look over here. It says a few definitions, actually. We know it's a verb because it's something that the Lightning did. Okay. The first definition says to make something suitable for a new use or purpose. Well, that sort of makes sense. In other words, they made themselves better for the new use of winning a game because they lost the night before or the other night. Look at the second definition. Look at the second definition here. To become adjusted to new conditions. What is the new condition? The new condition is that they lost the other night. So they wanted to adjust themselves so that they wouldn't lose again tonight. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did. They adjusted. And that's why they won. So you could also replace adapted with adjusted and say they adjusted well. See how that makes sense? That's what's crazy about the English language. Many words could mean the same thing. So they prepared well, they adjusted well, they adapted well. And that's why they beat my Rangers. Hopefully, the Rangers can adapt to what happened tonight and win on Tuesday. That's what I'm hoping for, but I won't get into that right now. Anyway, that's a context clue. That's just one example. There are other examples that I'll probably get into in other videos, but that's one example of a context clue and how to use it, or context clues, because this one had a couple of them in there. But anyway, I hope you found that helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me. If not, take it easy. I'll talk to you later. Good night.